Let's be real, guys. It is 2023 and we are using next gen consoles. There is no reason why most of these games that are coming out on PC and mobile are not able to run on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. All that being said, we're going to take a look at 4 games I believe should come to next gen consoles in no specific order. Now, the first game is a 2.5D side-scrolling game known as Elsword. This game is by KOG Games and has been out for a very long time. And I believe this game should have definitely come to consoles back in the PS4 era and the Xbox One X era. But for some reason, they just haven't done it. And this game fits perfectly because I believe the competitiveness of PvP as well as the gameplay of PvE would fit directly in on consoles. And a lot of players on consoles would love something like this. The game has a colorful host of characters, each having their own special skills, each having their own specializations when it comes to their classes. They can level up, they can change classes, they can specialize in different moves, and the game is free to play. Best of all, it is free to play. There are ways you can go ahead and get things faster by paying, but of course that's going to be in any game, to be honest, especially in this day and age. However, if you want to play the game free to play, you can play the game completely free to play. Looking at the current state of the game, it looks like they try to speed you through all of the early levels so you can get to the later game section, where they kind of just give you all the high tier gear for level 90 plus, which before it took a lot of grinding to get there when I used to play before. And so now seeing all this, I'm feeling like the game was coming towards near the end of its lifespan. 4 years ago you could log on and people will still be crowding around the beginning towns in the first few areas. Even higher level players will be still standing around the first few towns. As far as I've seen, there's not that many new players in the starting area, or even older players, to be honest. So I feel like bringing this game to console would definitely reinvigorate the community of this game. There are a lot of people that have been asking on Reddit and on Twitter if this game was ever going to come to consoles, and they've been getting negative answers from other users, but nothing straight from KOG themselves. I personally love the game's combat. I feel like it has a charming cartoonish style to it, and the combos are just awesome when it comes to landing everything together. Progressing in Elsword is easy. You pick up quests, you run through dungeons, you beat the boss, and you do that over and over until you get to the highest level you can, then you start running raids. If raids aren't your thing, you can go ahead and jump into PvP, which I believe is equalized still, so you can jump into PvP as a brand new player and still have a chance. Now, you still may run into some level 90 something player while you're level 75, but you'd still be able to combo them. They'll definitely have skills over you when it comes to being able to attack. The cash shop definitely does offer a lot of cosmetics. Some of them do, however, give stats. That brings us back to the pay to win discussion, because earlier I said you wouldn't be held back if you didn't spend any money, which is still correct. You just get things done faster if you spend money, of course. Now, I keep bringing up this roster, so let's go ahead and take a look at these 11 characters you'll be able to create and play right off the bat. You don't have to unlock these characters in any way. You do, however, have to unlock their job changes and their specializations. None of these characters have a specific role. They're all technically damage dealers, and that allows for free and open play for all the characters. And that's just among many reasons why I think this game should definitely come to next-gen consoles. Following up right after Elsword, we have another KOG game. This time it's an anime-style action battle game with a third-person perspective called Kurzspell. In Kurzspell, players use karmas, which indicate the weapon and class type, to fight through PvP and PvE based missions. I originally played this game when it first launched globally because it drew in my attention when it came to the PvP combat. Those of you who know me know I speak highly of a game called Dragon as having the best combat that I've ever seen in an MMO. Kurzspell pretty much does exactly the same thing, except they add in air combos, which I love it. And having the ability to switch in between your weapons mid-combo, it's pretty much seamlessly. It definitely does make the combat in Kurzspell stand out from every other actual combat game out there currently. Like I said earlier, with Kurzspell, your weapons do choose your class that you play, and boy are there a lot of classes. Now, because this is a KOG game, the cash shop is a place of content, because you can buy the characters instead of earning them the normal way by just grinding them out. You can also buy armor pieces, which do give you stats, but these are costume pieces. And you can also pay for enhancement stones to enhance your gear to higher levels. So those are things that are available in the cash shop, which could make the game considered pay to win. But you do have a chance of acquiring costume pieces from the gacha option, which is in-game using the in-game currency you receive from doing quests. Kurzspell is definitely a fun type of online game that you can put down and pick up at any point, because there's nothing in there that lets progression actually make you have to keep playing constantly, like most of these other games out there, where they need you to constantly be active to stay up to date. And that is a very big thing for console players, which is why I feel like this game would fit very well into the console community. This match right here is actually a match I hopped in on because of my beginning quest for coming back into the game. Decided I needed to go ahead and play through a few modes to get back used to playing the game. This is actually against another player, and I was pretty much destroying him, and this is pretty good for just coming back into the game. I didn't feel like I missed a step from when I used to play. I used to dominate this game, man. There were times I did overextend my combo, which led to me running out of stamina, which led to me just having to cool out and wait for my stamina bar to replenish. But like I said, this is me coming back fresh into the game after not playing for about, what, 2.5 years maybe? I do plan on continuing to play Kurzweil while it is on PC, but I'm definitely hoping it does come to console, because I feel like console players would definitely appreciate this game. So here's hoping this video makes it to some console heads that like to make some noise. It could reach out to the KOG community and figure something out when it comes to these KOG developers, because this game definitely needs to come to console at some point. I had to go ahead and capture the flag just so I can go ahead and end this clip here. But the next game we're going to talk about is Lost Ark. Now, Lost Ark was a game that was massively successful in Korea, and when it came over here, it was supposed to be massively successful as well. And it did do good numbers. I just personally feel like the console community would have extended those numbers to a height that we haven't seen. However, I don't think the PS4 and the Xbox One could have run at the time period that it did come out. Now, with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X being contenders, I feel like Lost Ark would definitely run on these new next-gen consoles. The raids in this game are massive, the PvP in this game looks fun, the PvE content just looks fun as well. I haven't gotten that far in Lost Ark because honestly I just couldn't play it with the controls that are set up on the keyboard. I plugged in a controller and I love to play it, but the controls that they have set up for console control, or the controls they have set up for controls being plugged in, just didn't fit my style, and I wanted to go ahead and change some of them, but it didn't fit how I felt like it should be played. And when I feel like when they map these games, when they make them for consoles, they map them better than they do when they make them for PC and give them controller support. So I feel like this game should come to console, and then we'll have a better understanding of how mapping would work with that controller scheme. It should also be noted that I'm not comfortable playing with an Xbox controller, and that's what I was using to play Lost Ark on PC, was the Xbox controller. I do enjoy Lost Ark. I did enjoy playing through the tutorial and the first few levels of story mode and just trying to get into the game. But like I said, when it comes to the controls from playing keyboard and using the Xbox controller, it just wasn't my vibe. I feel like coming to consoles, especially the PS5, would definitely be a good thing, and the controls would definitely be a lot better. From everything I've seen in forums, Lost Ark can be played without spending a single penny. That makes it a true free-to-play game. However, there are things you can get in the cash shop that do give you certain advantages over non-paying players, such as cheaper teleport costs and cheaper marketplace fees. Now, from the veteran players I've spoken to, they do say the game can get very repetitive, as well as you would have to log in pretty much every day to keep up with things and keep up with the current play style. And like I said before, the majority of console players just aren't into that. Most console players generally like games they can step away from for a month or two and then come back to and still have their same community around. So while I would like Lost Ark for console, it probably wouldn't fit being the way the game is. But hey, we still have Path of Exile, I guess. Last but not least, there's a game that you've all been seeing the commercial for constantly, hearing the announcer's pleasant voice take you into the daily adventures of people playing this game. That's going to be Albion Online. I feel like Albion Online is the strongest contender of a game that should come to console. After actually sitting there listening to the narrator go through what the daily life of players in Albion should look like, I actually went ahead and downloaded Albion on my PC, my tablet, and my phone because I was going to be fully immersed into playing Albion. One thing I immediately realized is that there is no controller support for Albion. I don't know if that's intended. I tried to plug in a controller, it didn't work out so well, so I'm hoping that they do some controller support for Albion in the future. Maybe it was just the version I was playing. I tried it on my tablet with my PlayStation controller. Couldn't get things to figure out the way I wanted to be figured out. So that didn't really deter me from playing. However, I did keep playing. I got to the point where I was about, I want to say 6 hours in. I was running dungeons, I was getting geared up, and I was in I think my T4 gear at that point. I wasn't playing for speed, I wasn't playing for anything else besides just trying to enjoy the game. And I was generally enjoying my gameplay. I hopped into a PvP skirmish really early on, which I probably shouldn't have. I did end up dealing with some other players where I paired up with some other players and ran through a dungeon a few times. And then the whole aspect of just playing the game and just being able to farm and travel through multiple maps, like it felt like it gave me a RuneScape style vibe. And but it's not really RuneScape. But I definitely enjoy playing Albion for the time I did play it. I did stop playing because my wife wanted to play some games with me as well, and she's not heavily into PvP as much as I am, so I didn't want to get her into a situation where she was forced into PvP. So I did go ahead and stop playing Albion as my main game. It wasn't my main game, but if it did come to console, I would definitely throw it on the list of my main games. Let's talk about that cash shop, because that's really an interesting point here. Albion Online is not pay to win. You can pay for an advantage to get your gear faster, but, and that's a huge but, that does not guarantee that you're going to be better than whoever you're playing against. It's not going to give you that much of a leg up versus someone that's already dedicated in playing the game and playing for free, because you can still grind silver very quickly playing as a free-to-play player. There is a system where they do have, I want to call it a VIP system technically. I forgot what it was called specifically, but you can actually get a thing that it gives you double drops or +2 drops on certain things, as well as reduces your marketplace fees and things like that when it comes to having that activated. Now you can buy that with silver, or you can buy that with money. And the fact that you can buy that with silver and have it activated for the set period of time, it'd be 30 days, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. The fact that you can do that makes it a very good game, at least in the sense of monetization. Now they do have their skins where you can get skins for different things, for your character, for your mount, and stuff like that. However, that's just cosmetic stuff. Albion is a heavy PvP focused game after you get through the PvE. And in certain parts of the map, you are forced into PvP. So if you don't like that, Albion would not be the game for you. But I do believe Albion should definitely come to console, because it is an experience that everyone should have. I feel like the game's potential is really lacking on mobile, and PC is definitely good, but I really feel like having a controller to play this game would make it so much better. And not just controller support, but dedicated controller mapping for it. I feel like Albion could definitely run on Gen 4 and Gen 5 consoles. And now with those 4 games out the way, I want to go ahead and get into the honorable mention, which is Torchlight Infinite. I played Torchlight Infinite in the beta, and I did enjoy the game, specifically in the beta. I didn't want to go ahead and play when it came out on mobile and PC, because honestly, I didn't feel like the game performed as well as I wanted it to on mobile and PC. Once again, I'm a big controller guy. I don't understand why it is that way, but I am. And so I'm definitely waiting to see if this game comes to console. I believe it was said that this was coming to console, but I couldn't find the article where I read that before. So I'm just kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen with this game. Constantly bugging the staff on Twitter if the game's coming to console and when. Torchlight's combat is very fun and addictive, and I really wish it does come to console at some point. We're just going to sit here and wait and hope, I guess. From stalking around some of the social media communities, I've seen the game called Pay to Win because of some of the gacha systems, but I feel like it's still going to be a decent game without having to tap into the cash shop. But we'll have to figure out whenever that comes to console, because I'm not touching it beforehand. Well, that's pretty much it for this video. If you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, and share. I am a console gamer first and foremost. However, I do play PC games from time to time, and you will see me post videos of PC games until something major happens on console, which I'm waiting for a lot of MMOs to pop off on console, and I will definitely be covering those. So MMOs include Wayfinder, Throne and Liberty, and Blue Protocol, as well as Diablo 4. We are waiting definitely for those games to come out this year, and I'll definitely be heavily covering each one of those games on this channel. So stick around if you do want that information. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the future next videos. Hopefully this video was to your liking.